And of course, we need to measure return on invest. We need to track clear metrics. For example, cost savings, revenue growth. At the moment, AI is still sort of invisible behind the scenes in a computer, but in the near future, it's not a near future, it's happening now. We'll have robots. Young founders build an AI automation agency, and they are often beginners in this space. So we train them, we help them.
Welcome to Why Involve podcast here. We bring you thought-provoking conversations with industry leaders shaping the future of business and technology. Today's topic is AI strategy for CEOs. How leaders can future-proof their businesses. AI is transforming industries faster than ever. For CEOs, the question isn't if they should adopt AI, but how to do it effectively. That is why we are excited to have Sebastian Schieke with us. He's an AI strategy expert, entrepreneur, and business angel. He helps companies integrate AI to drive growth, efficiency, and competitive advantage. With years of experience advising executives, investing in AI, startups, and guiding digital transformation, he brings invaluable insights to today's discussion. We'll explore AI adoption, common pitfalls, and how leaders can build future-ready businesses. Sebastian, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Omkar, that you invited me to your show. And I have to say, I'm really impressed where you are right now in your journey. I mean, I remember, when was it? 2011 or 2012? I don't know exactly. And you came to Frankfurt. I hired you via a platform on the internet to help me implement my SharePoint in my company, and we did it all online, and then you flew to Frankfurt, and we had an onboarding session here with the team. It was amazing, and now you run this big organization, and I'm really impressed, and really, I mean, you're a role model to me, Omkar.
Oh, you are our role model, Sebastian, in a way, because you were a true inspiration for us to start with Why Involve podcast. We thought you were doing amazing stuff over the internet, especially with all the videos that were floating around. So you were inspiration for starting Why Involve in a true way.
Good.
All right.
Good.
Thank you. All right, let's start with some of these questions. So why is AI so important at the boardroom level right now?
Yes. I mean, AI is all over the news, and AI is it should be on every agenda of CEOs. Why? It's because of different reasons. I mean, first of all, traditionally, AI was often seen as sort of an IT project, something the IT department is talking about, or even kind of a futuristic experiment. However, if you look at what, for example, major consulting firms like McKinsey and Deloitte figured out, that AI ranks now, or AI adoption ranks among the top 3 priorities for CEOs. And a new study, and this I found recently, which is very interesting, a new study by Cisco reveals a striking paradox. On one hand, about 97% of CEOs, they plan to integrate AI into their operation. But, and here's the big but, only 1.7% they feel prepared to do so.
Wow.
There's a big gap between the ambition and the readiness. And this is causing a concern in many, many boardrooms. They worry that the lack of understanding of AI will lead to missed opportunities and also to potential competitive disadvantages.
Correct.
And I mean, this is right. I mean, these are very important topics. And as a result, these CEOs, they focus on 3 key areas. They invest in the people, they heavily modernize and invest in the infrastructure, and also, as everything is on the internet, they have to strengthen their cybersecurity.
Yeah, that is an important piece. Yep.
Also, when you look at the competitive landscape, when you look at the market, there's a lot of pressure. if you look at industries like finance, healthcare, retail, they have early AI adopters that are already enjoying fast innovation and they build more efficient operations. And those who lag behind, they risk losing market share to them. There's an amazing example from Europe here. I don't know if you know Klarna. This is a Swedish fintech company. And they really doubled down on AI big times. They implemented basically a chatbot based on OpenAI. And this chatbot now handles 2.3 million conversations in a month. And
that's a good scale, yeah. That's a large scale.
Yes, and if you put this into perspective, that's the equivalent of 700 full-time agents, human agents.
Wow. That's unbeatable, yeah.
You not only save time and effort and cost, the AI also improves the quality. So studies shown that the resolution time, they dropped from 11 minutes to 2. And if you take all these savings, if you take that a chatbot is doing the work of 700 people, that it uses the resolution time, reduces the inquiries because people, they get their question answers. This translate to about, and these are numbers from last year, projected 40 million more profit in 2024, so in last year. And this is an amazing use case.
Absolutely, it is. I think I see this being a part of every conversation wherever I see CEOs talking about it. Now, since you have dealt with these implementation strategies, so
Okay.
Sebastian, with your views, what are the biggest misconceptions CEO have about AI adoption?
Yeah. So many CEOs, they see AI as a pure technical project. This is something, as I mentioned in the beginning, IT will handle. Or they even think, AI, this is something which might come later. And yes, we invest some money, we look at it, but we don't really take it serious. But in reality, first of all, AI is here. It's happening now, not tomorrow. And it's not an IT project. It's a business project. It's a transformation project. AI can transform and will transform your whole organization, your whole business model, when you do it right, when you integrate it strategically. And this is something every department needs to be involved. And this is something which is not driven purely by IT. It is a project that affects the whole organization. And of course, you have to have a process. You need to follow a certain strategy to make it a success. It's not just a simple change project. So, what are typical steps to make an AI implementation a success? So first of all, you need a vision. You need to create a vision on the board level, a compelling vision that you as a CEO and your leadership team fully supports. Otherwise, you will not be able to transform your organization. You as the leader, you dictate the speed and the scale of the AI adoption. You need to go ahead. You need to be a role model for your company and for your team. You need to tie your AI project to core metrics, for example, revenue growth, market share, or customer satisfaction. That is real measurable and that you see the return on invest. AI projects are projects that need a lot of time and investment, and of course they should lead to an ROI. That's very important. When you start something like this, you start small, with small, tangible project where you get a fast return on invest, where you see results immediately. And this creates a momentum in your organization. This shows your team that you're actually creating value. There will be a lot of people who will doubt that AI will make a difference. So this is why it's important that we, at the beginning, we really get the buy-in from them. We really show that an implementation, that an AI project will lead to value creation. So for example, what could it be? Could be a chatbot, an external chatbot for lead generation. It's very easy to implement. Or maybe an internal chatbot for knowledge management. So there's so much knowledge in an organization. If IBM would know what IBM knows, you probably know this saying, then people would be much more effective. There are numbers that when you take a normal employee searching for information within an organization, it costs time he spent by not finding what he needs to have costs about $2,300 a year. So you can calculate when you have a company of say 100 knowledge workers. Now we're talking about $230,000 a year on lost profit because of people not finding information. So having an internal chatbot, I call it knowledge agent, that is fed and trained by the knowledge of the organization, can make a tremendous impact on your bottom line. And then when you start defining your strategy, I mean, you need to build a portfolio of use cases. There are some specific high impact problems AI can solve. For example, predictive analytics when you are in the manufacturing business. Intelligent automation, so handling repetitive finance or accounting tasks, for example. Personalized recommendations for your client when you're running an e-commerce store. I mean, there are lots of potential use cases you could put into your project and basically build this pipeline of innovation and of improvements for your organization. And there are studies from Gartner, organizations that map AI initiatives to clear business goals. They are 2.3% times more likely to see a strong ROI than those who just start and experimenting but don't have a strong focus. So this is one thing. Then it's very important to have a clear governance and data ethics. AI intersects a lot with data privacy, regulatory environments, also depending on the where you are in the world. I mean, in the US, we just learned that the AI regulations, they have been completely scraped, they don't exist anymore. In the EU, it's the other way around. You have a much higher regulatory framework that you need to follow. And when you build a strategy for your organization, then you really have to take this into consideration. And there's obviously other things like potential bias in automated decisions, which you need to take care. So CEOs, they should embed responsible AI usage into their strategy. This is very, very important. We talked about chatbots initially. So a chatbot is a typical use case which is implemented primarily in customer service, so increasing the customer experience. I mean, just face it, these chatbots, they answer 24/7. They have faster resolution times. They're not getting tired when they've been asked the same question all over again. I just had a call with a client, and they run a big operation, and they get tons of calls on a daily basis. And most of the calls, they have the same concept. They ask the same questions, and of course, people get tired in answering always. And if you have to repeat yourself, quality drops. So what are we doing now? We're building a voice agent And this voice agent is trained with all the previous transcripts of the course. And in the future, the clients will call the number, a voice agent will answer. The voice agent will always be friendly, will never be tired. It will have all the resolutions, all the answers to your questions. And people, they can focus on more higher value tasks, which is very important. Then we talked about predictive maintenance. So one of my clients, they are in the water supply service, and they have a lot of pumps, a lot of water pumps. And these water pumps, they deliver all the data. You know, they can pull data from these water pumps, but then they have endless Excel sheets with run times, with different KPIs. And it's very hard for them to make sense out of this data. So we take the data, we run it through a large language model, and we look for patterns. We look for things happening all over again. And with the right large language model, with the right training, you can also predict if a pump might go into a fault state, or at least you can you know exactly when the pump needs to be serviced. So there are a lot of things you can preemptively do for the pump when you have the information, when you have the data. In the supply business, supply chain optimization, things like demand forecasts, inventory management, logistics, those are all areas where an AI service can tremendously improve your processes and your results. When we talked about this internal knowledge management, I mentioned this chatbot you have internally, which has all your knowledge of your organization, and when one of your employees has a question, it is being served. But you can also use this knowledge management as an onboarding agent. Imagine you have a new member of staff. It comes to an organization. They are overwhelmed in the first weeks with all the stuff they have to understand, all the information, the documents they have to read.
Policies and everything, yeah. There is a lot that one goes through.
Exactly. How about we use this knowledge agent, and we tell the agent, hey, craft a training program for the new employee. This new employee is in the role of HR, for example. So the agent has all the knowledge of the HR department, and it creates a curriculum and walks this new employee through the process, asks them questions, checks if the person understood it. I mean, there are endless opportunities. I have a son, you know, he's 13, he will turn 14. And he was studying for a subject in school. And you know what he did recently? He came to me and said, hey, Daddy, I uploaded this document I got from the school into Perplexity. And then I asked Perplexity, Pete, please teach me what is in this document and ask me questions so that I remember and my knowledge is improved. I mean, yeah, well, these are use cases. They are real, and we should really embrace that and also use this in our organization, because I mean it doesn't cost a lot and it has an amazing impact.
Yeah, it is. Well, I certainly think that policies and onboarding can be certainly automated with that, with the AI piece in it. I see that as a strong use case in most of the HR-related activities happening around.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sebastian, I think you have narrated all experience that you have gathered so far. How can you make AI as a core part of your business solution?
Yes, that's a very good question, Omkar. So, first of all, you have to see AI as a way to change your business model, to innovate your business model, to do things in a different way. Look at companies like Rolls-Royce. They transformed from a typical, I say you a jet engine company to, they call it power by the hour. They're using AI analytics for predictive maintenance, and they basically sell you hours. And this shift created a recurrent revenue model. It deepened customer loyalty, and it turned a typical product, a traditional product like an engine, into a subscription service like iTunes or Spotify. So this is, if you think it from the top level, how can it change my business model so that I not only survive but thrive in the future? Also, you need to build AI capabilities within the organization. So ideally, you start creating an internal center of excellence where you train your staff, where you incubate new AI-driven projects, where you really have a core team which is highly innovative, motivated. If you are a large organization, why not acquire an AI startup for a quick skill boost, or you partner with these organizations, partner with AI companies, partner with technology providers to have access to this specialized expertise. This doesn't stop you from upskilling and reskilling your staff. We all talk about that jobs will disappear. Well, new jobs will be created. So we need to take our team and help them prepare for the future by giving them the skills they need. So there's an example of a global bank. They reskilled 20% of their workforce in data analytics, which in the end resulted in a 30% boost in their cross-selling. Because why? I mean, they now could make sense of the data they had and can use this for their sales processes. And I mentioned initially, AI affects the whole organization. So we start with pilot projects, small projects that focus on a clear return on invest and are really hyper-focused and ideally create fast returns. But then CEOs, they must ensure that AI is rolled out across the whole enterprise. You might need to think about an AI factory approach, where you standardize processes, standardize data pipelines, deployment models,
Absolutely.
like DevOps.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also governments, because you don't want to reinvent the wheel all the time. So we need processes and procedures which, once we run an AI project, then we can take and replicate it throughout the whole organization. There are a couple of things that we need to avoid. So one thing, I'm also suffering from that. I'm an enthusiast. I love new things. I love tech. And I also suffer from the shiny object syndrome. And there's something new. Let's have a look. Let's see what it can create for us. So we're chasing ideas, futuristic ideas, often without a clear return on invest. And this often leads to failure. A report by Capgemini from 24 found that 64% of failed AI projects, they had unrealistic or ambitious goals. Also, a siloed implementation is often not the way to go. AI must not be confined to an IT or in data science team alone. No, we have to roll this. We have to include people from other departments. It's a cross-functional collaboration. Only this Yes, only this ensures that we have better adoption and better outcomes, and it's accepted by the whole organization.
That makes sense, yeah.
And last but not least, we shouldn't underestimate that an AI rollout is a big culture and a cultural change. It's a change project. When you talk to employees or when you talk to many people, they often fear AI will replace them. We don't want AI, I need to keep my job. I don't want to support a project which might replace me. This is what many people think. And this is not the reason why people or why companies implementing AI. So we need transparent communication about how AI will free them for higher value tasks, how they will be, what benefits they will gain from an AI implementation. There's an initiative from Amazon. They invest $700 million to prepare the employees for machine learning, cloud computing, and data analysis roles. Because, they don't need them anymore for the stuff they're doing right now, but they want to help them transfer to a new role in the organization. And they also want to mitigate fear, and they want to unlock their capabilities which they have.
Well, that sounds interesting, but that brings me to the next question. What role does internal management play in AI success?
Yes, what role does internal knowledge management play? We touched on that. I mentioned there's a statement, if IBM would know what IBM knows. And we often have silos within an organization, knowledge silos. You know that. You work for big corporates. You know that knowledge is not distributed evenly across an organization. It's just as it is. With AI, we democratize the knowledge within an organization. We can give every employee, of course, in their role, what they should know and allowed to know, but everything they're allowed to know, we can provide to them in an easy, accessible way. We don't have to force them to look through tons of documents, to look through watch tons of videos. No, we can provide this to them in a structured way, either as a question to an answer they ask, or as an onboarding training program they will go through when they join an organization or when they change role within an organization. So you enable faster decision making and you reduce duplicated efforts across different departments.
Good. So Sebastian, how will you address fear that AI will replace human?
Good question, Omkar. How can we address that? I think it's education. Many of people, wherever you go, we all, you, I, all the experts, we live in a bubble, we live in our AI bubble and we are deep in the tech, we understand what's going on. But for many people, this is a black box. They think about AI as something from the future, something from a sci-fi movie. They don't understand what's happening behind the scene. And of course, uncertainty creates fear. And we have to eliminate this uncertainty. We have to train them. We have to be transparent in our communication. We have to tell them exactly what's happening. What role is this AI taking? What tasks are done by this new AI model which we implement? How will it affect their job? What is the positive impact of that implementation? So they have more time for higher value things. They don't have to do the same stuff all over again, because this will be automated. Maybe they need 20% and 80% is done by the AI. And if we are transparent in our communication, if we tell them, if they are clear that the AI is not after their job, it's a tool that helps them, then we will enroll them, and then this project will be a success. Otherwise, there's all this internal pressure and internal resistance. And you've done change project as I did it in the past. If the resistance is not, if you don't eliminate it, it can crash a project, and we don't want that.
All right, since Sebastian, you talked about education, and how do you see your team playing a role in educating the industry players here?
Yes, thanks, a very good question. So, how do we help educating the industry players? I mean, I run a community. I help young founders. It's one of my passion, one of my side projects. I have young founders build an AI automation agency, and they are often beginners in this space. So we train them, we help them understand what's going on behind the scene, basically. I mean, I have a close business relationship to players in the AI space, to AI agent companies and experts, consultants, organizations. And of course, I sort of have my hand on the pulse. I know what's happening in the market, and I translate this and try to bring this knowledge and help these founders and also employees in our client organizations to really understand what is happening. And it's a lot of education, a lot of training. We have training programs, video programs. We do coaching calls. I produce a lot of content on social media that we share. And it's my passion to help people, because we have to be very crystal clear that AI will change everything we do. There's like a tsunami which is coming, which many people don't see. And this tsunami will bring a lot of change, big change we've never seen before in this scale. We went through different types of revolutions, industrial revolution, and this changed the way how humanity does things. But now AI is a different level, it's a different ballgame. And there are a couple of questions no one has answered yet. So do we need universal income? Because people might not find jobs anymore where they can create value. What about their mental state? If you don't have a job, if you're not proud of what you do on a daily basis, what does it do with your mentality? How does AI affect all these? I mean, at the moment, AI is still sort of invisible behind the scenes in a computer, but in the near future, it's not a near future, it's happening now. We'll have robots, AI-driven robots that serve you in a restaurant, that clean your home, that do whatever it takes. And then it's really getting tangible for the people. And they need education, they need to be trained, they need to be upskilled. And yes, that's what it's a big part of our job.
So for Sebastian, what are the key takeaways for our audience here? They would love to hear from you. And if they have queries, is it okay if they reach out to you? How can they reach out to you?
Absolutely, Omkar. So everyone can find me. I think the easiest way to find me is on LinkedIn. Put in my name, Sebastian Schieke. Send me connection request. Send me a message saying, hey, you met me with Omkar. I know where you're coming from. And then we can have a discussion. So what are key takeaways? I think the key takeaways are, first of all, we need a clear AI vision. We need to steer this project directly to our strategic goals, whether it's market expansion, customer satisfaction, operational efficiencies, and so on. We need to have a clear ROI focus, and we need to communicate that vision clearly and consistently to our audience. We haven't really touched deep on one topic which I think is very important, which is the data quality. Data is the lifeblood of AI. With every AI project, it can only be successful. I mean, you know the statement, garbage in, garbage out. It can only be successful if you have good quality data, which is the lifeblood of AI. So we need to invest in our infrastructure, in our data sets. We need to have modern data platforms, real-time data pipelines, and also strong governments that we build this strong data foundation. Lead change management, again, transparent communication, upskilling, retraining your staff. Have early success stories, small, tangible projects that are creating early success. And this will build trust and also enthusiasm for AI, and ideally across the whole organization. And of course, we need to measure a return on invest. We need to track clear metrics. For example, cost savings, revenue growth, time to market improvements. Have you ever done a chat with ChatGPT about a project you have? And how fast do you get an answer? How fast do you see different sides of the coin? I mean, those are all metrics we can use. We need to prove AI's value, and we need to use these wins to, of course, also justify additional investment to expand our AI adoption across the whole organization. And last but not least, we need to govern this whole project. We need to stay responsible, and we need to look at regulatory risks and regulations to make sure that what we build follows the ethic guidelines, privacy protections. And even if you are in a country like in the US where there are no rules at the moment, it doesn't mean that the rules won't come. So better be prepared than sorry in the long run. I want to close this with, guys, AI is no longer optional for today's organizations and CEOs. It's a strategic necessity. When you craft a clear vision, when you build the right capabilities, when you focus on responsible governments, you can harness AI really to drive innovation, to navigate this tremendous uncertainty which we have in the market right now, and to create sustainable competitive advantage for your organization. Thanks. If you have further questions, please reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to answer them. And it was great to be here on the show with you, Omkar.
Yep. Thank you, Sebastian, and it's good to host you as well. That wraps up today's conversation on AI strategy for CEOs. Sebastian, thank you for sharing such powerful insights on how leaders can embrace AI for long-term success. If you find this discussion valuable, then let's keep the conversation going. Follow us here on LinkedIn, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this with your network. Stay tuned for more expert insights. See you in the next episode. Thank you.